today on Green Country People and Places.
Started out as a custom saddle shop. It's a dream come true for me.
They call me the breeze.
We're at the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame here in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and this is our state's Hall of Fame. We've been going well over 20 years now.
We're in downtown Claremore, and this is Wolf Productions, a gallery of the arts, and we try to represent Oklahoma artists.
Oklahoma's Green Country. It's full of unique places and interesting people.
This is a great place to come if you're a Leon nut.
I feel like I should have pointy ears looking through this.
So come along with us
This thing's huge.
and enjoy the ride.
Started out as a custom saddle shop. Did that for years, and we had a full-fledged Western store, which was boots, hats, clothes, the standard deal. Had a fire about 20 years ago, burnt the whole place down, lost everything. And obviously, when you have insurance, you never know how much you have until you need it. And at that point in time, we didn't have enough to reopen and do what we were doing. So we just started with what we started with to begin with, which was the saddle shop, which has always been, God's blessed us tremendously with orders. So we started that and just had a small area. I mean, yeah. All we had was the sewing machines and the equipment.
I'm only laughing because it's pretty obvious something happened between then and now. I mean, how big is this place?
About 12,000 square feet.
Really?
Yeah. Including shops and, you know, everything included.
And the 800-pound horse in the room, but I got to ask, who's your friend here, by the way?
Well, he is like a store mascot, you might say.
He rocks, or bucks.
Bucks. He bucks.
A lot of stuff out here you've bought, but this is your work up here. This is a Murphy bed?
That is a Murphy's bed. We actually designed that and built that for the Western Design Conference, which is held once a year in Cody, Wyoming. And it's an invitational art show that features Western furniture, Western decor.
Yeah.
That's actually a Murphy's bed. The doors open up, pocket doors. The bed folds out. The big mirror in the back. Mm-hmm. Way more hours than it will ever probably bring.
It's incredible because the amount of tooling you have on there, you're using not just hide, you're using the hair of the cow too, right? Mm-hmm. To get the effect. And that is country right there.
And then silver mounted spurs, all of the silver on it, sterling silver.
And then you do the hand tacking all the way around too. I've never seen actually leather used as a flat display like that. That's kind of nice.
We actually took this piece and it didn't actually win anything.
Nothing?
No, it actually didn't. But we have another piece that we took the year before that's actually in the Buffalo Bill Cody Museum. They actually buy a piece. One award is they'll buy your piece and it goes in the museum.
These are really bright and colorful. I'm impressed by the variety of things you have in here.
I would have to say that's probably Rhonda's forte, is to find stuff that's unique, that will cross over and go with the Western look.
I mean, I've never seen a fork like that in my life. It's not dishwasher safe, I'm assuming.
Probably not.
But you said that she puts a lot of thought in this too, because it's not. This isn't just because it's pretty, but there was an idea behind it, right?
Correct. We also sell Fiesta wear, and you know Fiesta is a solid color. So a lot of people like color, but you know not too much of Fiesta. So this will blend with the Fiesta, but give you serving pieces that are not as expensive as Fiesta.
And she makes it all work so well with this rugged-looking table, the big, thick chairs. So this is kind of where it starts with the furniture, and this is restoration right now, this piece.
We don't do a lot of like refinishing on wood. That's not our forte. You bring the piece in like you want it. Now on this one, all we'll do is oil it.
Yeah.
We don't try to change anything. But when they come in, they will go through all the materials, pick what they want, and then we make that happen. So, like for instance, on this piece, you know how old stuff gets worn out.
Right.
So the bones are still good, but everything else was trash.
Yeah.
Or it was just worn out. So now we're going to give it an upgrade, a new look.
And this probably was fabric to begin with anyway, but you don't do fabric, right? You do what's over here, which is leather.
The limit to what leather's doing nowadays is unbelievable.
Well, and talking about limit, I mean, I looked at this and I said, is that leather? And you said, yes. And I mean, it looks like antique copper.
It sort of does. And you know, turquoise is really big right now, whether it be in jewelry or paint colors. But turquoise is really big.
Now, is this a one-off or is this one you make?
No, this is an antique piece that belongs to a lady, and this was her combinations of the colors of the dark brown leather, the turquoise, and then the hair on the back.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which made it look...
You have to brush this every day, right? Keep it looking shiny.
Makes it look really cool.
I need you to love me. I need you today. Give to me your leather. Take from me my lace.
You're starting them kind of young, aren't you?
This is my grandson.
Yeah.
And this
Howdy.
is timber gauge swabothium.
Well, he's locked and loaded. He's ready to go.
Oh yeah, and he'll pull a gun on you pretty quick.
What's going on down here?
Randy's sewing on turquoise.
Hey, Randy.
How are you?
On the buffalo. That's a piece of buffalo hide.
So the turquoise itself, oh, it has a hole drilled in it. I see what he's doing now. Okay. And what was this again? What's it going
That's
on?
buffalo.
No, I mean, what's it going to be?
It's a lady's fashion belt.
So this is where it all started, working with leather by hand, right?
In the 4th grade, as a matter of fact.
For you?
For me. And Britt, he's been here since he was a baby.
You do start them young.
No choice.
So he's doing what right now for the layman? Explain what this is.
After we draw it, I'll draw the picture or the design. That's all drawn by hand. And then we'll cut it with what they call a swivel knife, which is this is a swivel knife. It's got a sharp edge here and here, and this is what you would cut the designs with.
So you slide and swivel it along to make a little shape. So it's outlining what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, probably putting the pencil down like you would do it on pencil.
And then you have this huge assortment of different marking tools to work with, right? So each one helps you make a different shape?
An impression.
An impression.
Yeah, that would be sort of like these are impressions of geometrics. And we're just sort of playing with them and figure out which way you want to run it. Do you want to put seeds in it? You know, so we'll play around with a lot of different things, come up with a new design or a new way to do something.
And the leather holds this for a long time. It doesn't go away. Once you impress it, it's impressed.
If the moisture content is right.
Oh, that's impressive.
On dry leather, no, it won't.
Right.
But
okay.
You will see we have a plastic bag over there, and we'll cut the design, then we'll wet it, put it in that bag, and then when it comes to this area right in here, see where it's a little lighter?
Yeah.
That's the perfect moisture content.
Are a lot of the shapes traditional? In other words, right now he's whacking the heck out of that leaf, but it's one he's done before, so he knows that shape, he knows he wants that look, right?
Correct. Leather tooling is a lot like any other craft. You will feel it. You'll know, I want to do this. It's not something that you look at page 31 and hit it twice.
So what is he making, by the way?
This, when it's done, will be a mantle clock. So the area in the center, we'll mount the clock in the center, and then all around these wide edges, we'll tack to match the color of the inset.
It's amazing the variety of work you're doing here, and actually how ginormous this place is, because when we were coming out here, I knew nothing about this place. I thought it was going to be a little mom and pop shop. But you guys have put together something pretty cool out here.
It's a dream come true for me. I couldn't have imagined ever doing anything but this since the 4th grade.
Take from me my lace.
We're at the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame here in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and this is our state's Hall of Fame, so this is your Hall of Fame also. And we've been going well over 20 years now, and we've just covered just about everything in the state as far as our Native American music, country, pop, blues, and one thing we have to remind people, we have deeper jazz roots in the state just about than country roots, and some of the greatest jazz musicians in the history of that music. Absolutely.
And right behind us, we see all these pictures now. These are Hall of Fame inductees?
Yes, sir. Merle Haggard, Patti Page. This was our first 4 inductees, Woody Guthrie, Claude Williams. And we covered country with Merle, pop with Patti Page, folk with Woody Guthrie, and jazz with Claude Williams. Merle Haggard is probably our #1 guy through the door. Okie from Muskogee just put us on the map musically worldwide. We do tours from Russia to Germany to Japan. It's just absolutely phenomenal. South America, Australia, New Zealand. Most of them hit that door. They think Merle lives in this building, a lot of them. Look, and it says Merle here. But we have to tell him he was born in Bakersfield. Yeah. And that's a whole nother chapter, really. Helped start that West Coast sound, the Bakersfield sound, as opposed to the Nashville sound. And here come kind of the outlaw. You know, the Willies, the Whalens, they were never going to do it Nashville's way.
Does it surprise the people when they visit here and then they look at this wall and realize, wow, we do have a lot of influence?
Very few states have the worldwide impact of Oklahoma musicians. And in my mind, Mississippi just has an incredible impact. I think they may be #1 out there just in my heart of hearts. But Oklahoma, I don't know where we land, maybe 2nd or 3rd as far as worldwide impact. But if you start peeling the onion back on these musicians, without a Woody Guthrie, you don't have the folk music movement, you know, with Pete Seeger, Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, Peter, Paul, and Mary. And of course, some like Albert Brumley writes I'll Fly Away, one of the most recorded gospel songs in history.
Yeah.
And some like Gene Autry doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We do tours in here from Japan. Some of them can't even speak English, but they can get in here and they can sing Merle's songs, perfect English. They go right to Gene Autry, start doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's just really staggering, just amazing. And of course, Roger Miller, Hoyt Axton, just the impact these guys have had is just absolutely incredible. When we got this organization going, we never knew about a Carrie Underwood. We never knew about a Blake Shelton. We never knew about a Rascal Flatts, you know, Joe Don Rooney, and never knew about All-American Rejects. So you can't ever tell who's 10 years up the road.
You know, you guys squeeze and use every bit of space you have, don't you?
Absolutely. And this place gets small very quick with all these archives. And this is Jim Halsey's archives right here. And so,
now, he's a music promoter and he represented these artists, right?
Absolutely.
And he's one of actually Oklahoma's hidden secrets for a lot of people who aren't into music, right?
Absolutely, and really believe part of the domination that Oklahoma's had in Nashville for many years has been Jim Halsey, and the way he has really shed light on Oklahoma's, you know, country music especially.
There's a lot of gold and a lot of platinum up here.
Absolutely. Clint Black, Don, if you just had one of his artists, if you just had a Merle Haggard or Reba McEntire or a Wanda Jackson or a Roy Clark, you were going to be just doing very, very well.
But I'm going back to talk one more time. Yes, I'm going back to talk just one more time. Yes, I'm going back to talk one more time.
Now, these are some very special guitars, right? I see a lot of signatures on them.
Absolutely. Mr. Halsey was gracious enough to loan us some of these signed guitars right here. And right here we have Eric Clapton's signed guitar, and what a Tulsa connection that Eric Clapton had with Carl Radle, Dickie Sims, and Jamie Oldecker, and Leon Russell, of course, and J.J. Cale. And right here we have ZZ Top.
That's wild.
Dusty Hill, Frank Beard, Billy Gibbons, Carlos Santana.
One of the greatest guitarists of all time.
Absolutely. And of course Neil Schon of Journey, started with Santana, great Oklahoma connection. Right here, Tommy Alsop. This was Buddy Holly's guitar player on the fateful tour when the plane went down.
Oh.
And Tommy is the one that lost the coin flip to a 17-year-old Richie Valens. A lot of people don't realize he was 17 years old when he went down there. 3 major hits at that point.
Oh my.
And right here, B.B. King.
I love the Ozzy.
Osbourne. Absolutely. A lot of kids just go get their mom and dad, say, Mom and Dad, Ozzy Osbourne signed this guitar.
Now, how would you wind up with an Ozzy Osbourne guitar, you know?
Mr. Halsey, his roots run deep, absolutely. And of course, Led Zeppelin. And of course, Jimmy Page played the Tulsa Civic Assembly Center in about 1966 with the Yardbirds. And they opened up for Gary Lewis and the Playboys, which had Tommy Triplehorn, Carl Radle, and Jimmy Karstein on that tour.
I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy.
Right here we have Eric Clapton's gold record from 461 Ocean Boulevard that Jamie Oldecker donated to the museum here, and we really cherish that. Of course, that had the great hit by Bob Marley, I Shot the Sheriff. And that one song really exposed Bob Marley to the world. A lot of people knew about Bob until Clapton covered I Shot the Sheriff, and really to do with George Terry and Carl Radle's prompting for him to do that song. And so that was just an incredible exposure to Bob Marley.
And it's interesting too, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't even think of Eric Clapton being Tulsa related.
Absolutely. He had deep Tulsa ties. In my opinion, he's rarely left the Tulsa sound in 30 or 40 years. His first solo hit being After Midnight by J.J. Cale. Here comes Living on Tulsa Time, Lay Down Sally, Wonderful Tonight, I Shot the Sheriff, just huge hits for him. And really revived his career.
Well, and those two had such a great partnership too. It's one of the best in music history almost, isn't it?
Absolutely. J.J. Cale made Eric Clapton millions, and Eric Clapton made J.J. Cale millions of dollars over the years.
And I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee, a place where even squares can have a ball.
Now this is more than a museum, this is actually an old depot, right?
Absolutely. This thing was built in 1906, 1 year before statehood, and Muskogee was really thriving at that point. A lot of oil, a lot of cotton down here. And yes, this is where the fun in Muskogee happens. Have live music every Thursday night and several other nights during the week. And it's just been an incredible performance space for us. Great acoustically. Some of the bands that have played in here, America, Little River Band, the Swan Brothers. We've just had an incredible run in here.
Now the paintings in this room are incredible too. Who did all this?
We absolutely treasure Roger Davis's artwork in here. He's got, well, probably about 40 pieces in here. And to be able to paint on this medium right here and have it look so lifelike is just absolutely incredible.
I love the atmosphere that you have in here because you've got the bricks still exposed, you have the original floors.
Original hardwood floors.
It makes me think a little bit of the Canes in terms of, it feels like there's history here. This is old. This represents Oklahoma's history for the railroad, but also now you've turned into history for music, so it kind of folds into it really nicely. And like you said, this must be a hopping place when you have something going on.
Absolutely, and it seats about 300 to 400 depending on how we have this thing set up, but we do a lot of weddings, a lot of proms in here, a lot of civic luncheons and dinners down here, a lot of fundraising.
So you're actually, in addition to being a museum also, your goal is to start involving the entire state in music festivals and things of that sort too. It's on the futures
Absolutely.
that you're trying to work towards, right?
Yes.
We're in downtown Claremore, and this is Wolf Productions, a gallery of the arts, and we try to represent Oklahoma artists. We right now are representing about 60. We do a large variety of different types of art. We're pretty eclectic.
You're not kidding about eclectic because I see paintings, I see ceramics, I see jewelry, I see some fiber art and wood art. That's a lot of variety, but in this day and age, it's rare to see somebody representing mainly Oklahoma artists because you got to make a buck, right? But it's kind of a risk on your part too, isn't it?
A little bit, but at the same time, we own the building, so we don't have a high overhead, so that's one thing that's helpful. And really, Oklahoma artists are taking off. People are finding, it's amazing how many artists there are in Oklahoma. And people are starting to realize that they should support their local artists.
Now you guys are located right on the main strip though, so tourists come in a lot too, right?
Yes, we get a lot from Route 66. It's amazing how many Europeans and then locals from both coasts. It's just amazing how many people like to do Route 66. And then we get the tourists that like to do Will Rogers and the Gun Museum, so it's a lot of fun. We get a lot of shocked responses because people don't really expect a gallery like what we have here in a small town like Claremore is. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, you walk outside, and when you're outside coming in, it's like, okay, it's this wide, but then it's that deep. I mean, that's really neat. You do fill the space well. Now you're talking Oklahoma art, but this looks Oriental.
Yeah, Yusuf was originally from Nigeria. Now he's out of Tulsa, and he used to have a studio in McAllister, and he keeps shifting. But he does a large variety of different styles of work. And then the rice bowls, which are real popular with the students up at RSU.
That is a neat design he's got. It holds the what you call these?
Chopsticks.
Chopsticks, thank you. And does he make the chopsticks too?
No, he doesn't make the chopsticks.
Oh, okay. So he's a good ceramic guy. And
Yeah.
who we have sitting right here, this horse looking at us?
That's done by Lisa Jewell, and she specializes in horses and dogs. She's a equestrian, and she loves riding. She's also a photographer, and she'll do commissioned work she loves to do horses, but she also is really involved in doing like the dogs, because she helps save dogs from Coweta and transport them to new homes.
What would you describe this work as?
Well, the artist calls it yarn art, and it's a combination of woodworking and fiber, and he uses yarn that's been made here in Oklahoma. He uses yarn from local art spinners, and then he collects the wood. And he also is one of my wood turners, so some of the woods, like this one, he turns some of the
part?
Yeah, he turns some of it, and then he'll put them all together and creates his wall pieces. And it's really unique. I have never seen anybody else do anything like it.
Yeah, it's different than I've ever seen too. And I like the fact that he even took some driftwood and wrapped that. So he's trying to keep the nature part involved with it at the same time, keep it natural. Does he make, well, a bad question, does he make his own yarn?
No.
Okay.
Well, but
that'd be really a Renaissance man if he did that.
Yeah, he does a lot of things. He does wood turning. He also paints. The two paintings up there are his, and then he does the yarn art and builds furniture. He really is kind of a Renaissance man.
Yes, on these hallowed grounds, open 10 to 8 on weekdays, in a little shrine under a makeshift pagoda, there sits the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. I tell you, it's the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota.
So it keeps going. You have jewelry also.
Yes, and one of my jewelers her name's Cheryl Landis. She's from Tulsa. She does some really unique and interesting things. She also paints and does all sorts of different stuff. Her wall art that I have is kind of unique. She used paper and found objects, and it's really interesting, and it's in the same vein of her jewelry. It's a little eclectic.
I'm finding out that this is interesting because you think about an artist doing one thing, but I guess with the economy and day and age and everything else, a lot of artists now are becoming multifaceted. They do more than one style of thing so they can broaden their appeal, right?
Well, yeah, their appeal, and some galleries don't really like to do but only one media for the artist, but I like, if they're doing multiple things, I like to see it all. It really interests me, and it seems to interest the customers too, and yeah, it broadens it and gives them a lot of things. And a lot of them, they just have to create, and it's something they have to do, and that's part of the fun is in keeping them themselves motivated and interested, I think, is doing different things.
That is one of the most unique looking faces I've ever seen on a Christmas ornament. What are these?
They're Whizzies. They're done by my sister. She's the one in the family that got all the talent. I just like to represent, but she creates. She wood carves, she draws, and she makes her soft sculptures, Whizzies.
That is so cool. I mean, these are hilarious looking.
Yes.
I mean, everyone's different, and everyone's got a different expression. And
she makes a lot of people use them for Christmas ornaments, but she also makes like Halloween ornaments, and just have them hanging around your house all year long, because they bring smiles to everybody's face. They're just wonderful things.
Talk about a face only an artist could love.
Yeah, that's Carl, done by Joyce Sheehy. She's from Tahlequah, and she does soft sculptured dolls, and they're really unique. She did the Halloween a couple, and then the Polly, the Southern Belle, and
I love the expressions on the faces. These are not your normal dolls that you grew up with. Well, I didn't grow up with dolls. My sister did, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. She does really nice faces, and they're unique. And Carl's still one of my favorites. He just peeks out through his window and.
Get off my lawn. And you even have blown glass.
Yes, it's done by Helen Gregor. She's from Stillwater. That's where her studio is. Actually, she lives part-time in Stillwater and part-time here.
Is she related to Steve Gregor?
Yeah, she's
Will
the
Rogers
wife.
Museum? Oh, okay. Okay, he's retiring, so
Yes.
somebody needs to make money in the family.
Yes, that's true.
These are beautiful. Almost looks like
Peppermint.
peppermint. That's what I was going to say. Peppermint in there. I mean, that's not easy to do. I love blown glass, and the work that it takes to make that
It's amazing.
Well, I do appreciate too the work that you've gone to represent Oklahoma in your shop, because it's got to be a good feeling knowing you're helping out artists.
Oh, it is, and it's fun. It keeps me entertained. I like, that's one of the things my wife and I started off when we opened the gallery, was to represent Oklahoma artists.